Hello, welcome. I'm Pamela Cuccinell, and this is Stoke the Fire. And this is going to be a little different format than what we usually do because my colleague Susie is engaged in a fight against the flu, which has been just running rampant through our part of the United States, Northeast, and I think beyond. So she's resting. But usually the format of Stoke the Fire is we say hello, we tell you who we are. I'm Pamela Cuccinell. I'm an astrologer. I'm also a tarot master and Reiki master while I'm at it. But most people know me as an astrologer, and that's what we'll be doing with Stoke the Fire. I'm going to talk for about 20 minutes, giving you the forecast for the week ahead. And the date of this broadcast is January 29th, 2018. So our subscribers, because there are people who subscribe to Stoke the Fire via StokeTheFire.guru, our subscribers get the encapsulated essence of our talk the night before, Sunday evening. And that enables them to map and plan out their week. They're getting an MP3 recording of my 20-minute forecast and Susie's guided meditation. What Susie contributes as a master healer channel is she comes up with a guided energetic activation, which imbues you with the most positive energy as you move into your upcoming week. And Susie's work is deep, it's transformational, and we always say, you can listen to me, blah, 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 do my 20 minutes as you're commuting or going wherever. But when you hear Susie's activation, your car should be parked, or you should be somewhere where you can just enjoy the meditation activation for 10 minutes, because it's not a procedure or it's not an experience that you should be having while operating a heavy vehicle. So enjoy as I present you this, and I give you what's upcoming for the week of January 29th. And before I get into it, I will tell you that you can find out more about Susie's work at susiemazzoli.healer.com. And there you can find out about her School of the Art of Energetic Healing, where she does a year-long course to help open you up to your natural healing ability. We all have it. Our bodies are absolutely wonderful at self-healing and taking care of ourselves. And this course teaches you methods and it shows you tools to really tap in to your body's innate healing wisdom. So I can't recommend it enough. I've studied with Susie. I've studied different energy healing methods, and even though I was a Reiki master at the time, I found it incredibly valuable to work with Susie in her Art of Energetic Healing course. So she offers the courses in New York City and actually in Los Angeles, and there's one in upstate New York, as well as I think you can do it virtually. So you can find out more about that at susiemazzoli-healer.com. And yes, even a healer can get the flu, but I guarantee you that her way of getting the flu is just the body needs to close down and rest and recuperate. And also the self-knowledge, you don't push your body through crazy paces when it really wants to just heal. So she will be absolutely better next week. I know that. And you can find out about me at insightoasis.com. And on my website, you can find out about how to work with me privately. I see people in an ongoing basis. So if you want to deepen into a particular goal you may have, astrology is absolutely fabulous at accurate forecasting for what's unfolding over the next 3 months, 6 months, or a year. So there are different packages on how to work with me in an ongoing basis, as well as just one shot, want a experience with a incredibly competent astrologer to help you make the most and maximize this point in time. So that you can find out about on insightoasis.com. And also, just so you know, I'm doing a very in-depth course on the art of insight, journey through the tarot. And this course will allow you to really come to very profound understanding of the tarot cards, which a lot of people think are just for entertainment or a fortune-telling device. They're actually visual reference to give you tremendous insight on how to tap into your higher power energy, your ability to make decisions with total confidence, and they're really a wonderful life tool that will absolutely explode your intuitive insight through the study of them. And the course is experiential. I do it through 4 elements of healing: earth, air, fire, water. So yes, you learn data, you get information, you learn history and symbols, but it's very experiential. You really feel the content of the cards. You work in ways that help you manifest and concretize what the cards mean. And we open up a lot of creativity and inspiration through the work. So that begins in mid-February, and you can find out more about the course by going to my website, insightoasis.com, and putting in the search bar develop your art of intuition, and that'll bring you to the tarot lesson page. Okay, so let's get into the week of January 29th, 2018. And this Monday opens with the moon in the sign of Cancer. And for those of you who listen regularly, you've heard me say that when the moon is in a cardinal sign, and the cardinal signs are the signs that open up the season, so Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, when the moon is in a cardinal sign, it can be a particularly challenged day, depending on time of year or position, because the cardinal sign planets, the cardinal sign, whether it's your sun sign, your birthday is one of those signs, or the moon happens to be in the sign that day. What's happening is there's engagement with some outer planets that cause tension and unexpected things occurring. So Uranus is in the sign of Aries, and Uranus is the planet that indicates change and things that are out of control and a bit of a surprise, revolution, chaos. So that can be very disruptive depending on what's going on for you that day. And Pluto, which is the planet that symbolizes irrevocable transformation. Pluto was the god of the underworld, death, power. So when a planet, either from your natal horoscope or throughout the day, is engaged with something going on with Pluto, it can be a day that might be fraught with power struggles, or something occurring that seems out of our control in some way. The way through is always to surrender somewhat, but it may not always be appropriate to the degree, or the question is, how do you surrender based on the particular experience or situation that's being presented to you. So as we look at Monday, the 29th, this Pluto engagement, the stressful power struggle potential, happens in late evening. Now, when I give times that I'm working with are always Eastern time. So if your time zone is not Eastern time, please adjust depending on where you are on the planet. So with this energetic thrust, what's occurring is that you may be asked to step up to a challenge or to assert power in some way. You may also be the person who is orchestrating that or demanding that. So it's good to kind of tap in and see where you're at and why on Monday. With the moon in the sign of Cancer, it's a water sign. It's emotional, feeling nature. It can be very connected to something that's got to do with home, family, real estate. It can also have something to do with what's important to you, to your core. Maybe not even something you articulate or define very often. There can be a historic or legacy component to it. But it's very much about what makes us feel safe. What are we invested in? That's what the moon in Cancer often brings about. Wonderful healing energy for this particular day is to be sure that you eat foods that agree with you, that give you a sense of being cared for, and that are foods that are digestible and good for your overall body and well-being. Optimism can be restored in the evening, very strong sense of being guided, and messages from the angelic or whatever realm you consider outside yourself are available. On the 30th, Tuesday, moon is still in the sign of Cancer. And what is happening with this particular energy, I'm just adjusting my computer a little because sometimes I get a little dodgy thing. Okay, sorry. What can happen with this day, oh, there it goes again. Okay, this is actually kind of interesting to me because what I'm going to be talking about is the importance, especially on Tuesday, of communicating what it is you really want to say. Because people can get fractured and polarized. And we don't want to do that. We've seen so much of that in 2017. Let's please give it some relief in 2018. And I think one of the things that's important to keep in mind, especially with the moon in Cancer, is if you're trying to win somebody over to your side, or if something's really important to you and you're heavily invested in it, how can you reach that other person on something that they care about also? So the key is to find the intrinsic connection. Where are you alike? This becomes so much more important than where you are divided. And to just give you a little personal piece on this is, I grew up in a family that had very strict religious values, very strong ways that they felt politically, and very specific frames of what was right or wrong in the world, including what people were okay people and what people weren't. And as I evolved, went through adolescence, became an adult, I didn't necessarily fit all those little okay things that I had been taught, nor did necessarily another sibling of mine. So then the question was, well, where do we reach one another? Do we continually feel like, you know, we're out in this like other place in the world, that we don't belong in this unit? Or do we find the place where we can coalesce? And throughout my life, I learned more and more how to get to that point of what binds us as being more important than what separates us. And it's been an interesting evolution, but when I hear how fractured people become, I just know that my experience had been so much about early training to how do you reach people in a place which is the same. And so my message for Tuesday, for the 30th, is find the root of where the love is. Find that root. Find the thing that binds you together. What is the source? And with the moon in Cancer, sometimes it can be just breaking bread with someone, sharing a meal, and having that meal be something that is conversational and connection. So my recommendation is on Tuesday, if you find yourself kind of fractured and feeling like you don't know how to pull the pieces together, find some common ground. Do something that makes you feel connected in nature, in celebration of the earth in some way, in celebration of family, whatever family means to you. And family, again, being someone who lived 20 years in New York City, you can be shoulder to shoulder with incredibly diverse people, and yet they're your neighbors and they're people you're working with in some context. So how do you find that commonality? And that is one reason why we're going through such heavy duty transits and experiences, pretty much, especially since 2008, but it's been that way for a while. This is all about finding things where we coalesce more than where we separate. So as of 11:40 a.m. on the 30th, the moon goes void of course. So for those of you who haven't heard me say this before, when the moon is void of course, it's not making any more planetary pictures with another planet before it leaves the sign. So what that means, since the moon has to do with emotional connection, is that people don't tend to feel as invested in whatever it is they're discussing or what comes about. So pretty much the afternoon of Tuesday, the 30th, is you can get into conversations with people where people seem really jazzed about certain things or interested, and then it never really pans out. So it's a great time to conceptualize, to throw ideas around, but not really to expect anything to stick. It's good for finishing up something you already have in process, organizing, or purging, moving beyond things that kind of are in your way. Because when we're less attached to things, we tend to be more decisive about moving through them. So especially with that moon in Cancer, really advisable to keep things as neutral as possible and to cut through clutter or things that have been keeping you stuck. The moon enters the sign of, it enters Leo at 1:53 p.m. on Tuesday. So it's not the entire afternoon. It's just really a couple hours. And once that happens, we're much more connected. Not only that, we're like really connected. And this is the Leo moon that leads us into the 31st, which is a supermoon, meaning that the moon is as close as it gets to the Earth. So it's really got a strong impact of energy, and plus it's probably going to be beautiful to look at. It's a full moon in Leo, and it is a lunar eclipse. And as if that isn't enough, it's a blue moon because it's the second full moon of the month of January. And so it has a lot of tipping into the edge energy around it, especially since in mid-February we're going to have an eclipse that's kind of a big one. So this one seems to be igniting a lot of things energetically. The thing to keep in mind about full moons is that they're integrative. They pull things together. So in Leo, it's a lot about individual self-expression, creativity, having a voice, and it's being lit by the sun in Aquarius. So it's a tremendous time to really speak out in your community, be heard, do things that you want to stand out or stand up to. Let's see, the exact time of the eclipse is 8:27 a.m. And if you want to see it physically, it depends where you are on the planet. In the Northeast, where I am, it's going to be just kind of pre-dawn, so you may or may not see it, especially if it's going to be obfuscated or blocked by trees or buildings, because it'll be very close to the horizon. It's also what's known as a blood moon because of the way the eclipse happens, which means it can be reddish and it can be absolutely beautiful. I saw a very long one quite a few years ago in Florida one evening that went on for a long, long time. It was just gorgeous. So aside from the beauty, nature aspects of it, it also has so much of an inspirational capacity to it. So ask yourself, what is it you're fired up about that is something you want to get across? What story do you want to tell? What legacy do you want to leave? What inspires you? What triggers you to create something within community that has an impact, a long-term value? That's what this full moon is calling us to. It's like, what is that creative thrust for you? What does it feel like to truly express and expand your reach? So that holds with us for a while. It is the entire day on Wednesday has this charge of this full moon eclipse, even though the eclipse, as I said, exactly happened early morning in Eastern time, which I'm talking about. One of the things that's critically important about what you energetically want to do with this time is decide where you are emphasizing that creativity. You may feel as though you have lots of options, lots of things coming your way. And the more specific you are with where you're going to put your emphasis, what it is that holds most value to you, what are the discussions you need to have with perhaps loved ones or other people you care about to really define what it is that you want to say and do and make happen over this year. And here we are at the opening of 2018, really. So the more integrated you feel about that, the more kind of a sense of this is how I want to map it out, the more able you are to bring in that potential, because this moon is also very energized by the placement of where the planet Uranus is. It's really feeding that Leo fire with the Aries fire from the Uranus moon, Uranus placement. So as a result, the more in sync you are with your unique vision and potential, the greater the shine. the greater the ability to really make it happen with a very dynamic reach. So have a beautiful eclipse day. So Thursday, February 1, comes in, and the moon is void, of course, at 5:58 a.m. So for the early risers, you can get a little more moments with that full moon energy before it goes void, of course. And then it's void until early afternoon at 2:13 p.m. when it enters the sign of Virgo. Now, once it's in the sign of Virgo, this is a very lively time for completing tasks, crafting out the details, uh, dotting the I's and crossing the T's of all the contractual things you want to make happen from whatever it was that you've taken on, whatever task or vision you have. So Thursday and Friday are really great days for nailing down contractual agreements, getting everybody on the same page, looking at the details of what needs to come together in order to make those things happen in the way you would like. And the thing on Thursday, especially as we get in the evening, just if you feel an argument coming or disagreement, once again, observe where it's coming from. What is the impatience almost that might be like cattle prodding or irritating someone, and get clear on how you can articulate or come together in ways more than kind of fracture. It's just a bump, and by later evening, there should be a lot more application and focus and ability to kind of meet one another on common ground. And sometimes the argument or the person who's stirring things up most is just within ourselves, whatever that might be, that's kind of an irritant or feeling a sense of frustration. So the 2nd, February, is Groundhog Day. And I often will do a little forecast on what I think that rodent's going to do based on just what's going on with the planets at that point in time. I think he's going to feel pretty comfortable. It depends on the environment, though, or she. Because if it's misty or a foggy morning or things feel a little diffused, the creature may not be 100% sure what exactly it wants to forecast with the groundhog moment. But overall, for the rest of us who are not four-legged furry animals, it's a terrific day to put strategies in place. And if you are feeling a little fuzzy in the morning, recognize that's because you're almost, it's like we're getting signals from planes that we can't quite see. So if you're feeling a little confused or like not sure how to proceed, then just stay with that. We always try to push ourselves sometimes into making decisions or moving ahead with something that we might need a little more time to incubate and reflect on. And the morning really lends itself beautifully to that. So if you have the luxury of allowing yourself more of a reflective morning, it's a great morning to make that happen. Unlike the little groundhog that gets pushed out of his cubby. But then in the afternoon, we're in a high energy, like full steam go sort of focus. And the more goal directed you are, the more you can book along. It's a highly productive afternoon, evening for people who are 100% clear how they want to proceed. And even if you're not 100% clear how you want to proceed, you still may end up having a highly effective day. So the 3rd, Saturday, has a void of course moon at 10:07 a.m., so wee hours of the morning, and it doesn't go into the sign of Libra until 4:47 p.m. So when the moon is void of course, that much time, especially in the sign of Virgo, I can't encourage you enough to do something that has to do with cleaning up, purging, putting things in order, presenting yourself to a body worker or therapist to readjust and put something in alignment. It's a terrific day for grounding, for just really allowing yourself a sense of feeling here on the planet. If you can get outside and be in nature, do that, because it's going to feel absolutely fabulous. I know that's what I'm doing all of Saturday on the 3rd. So let yourself really be in Mother Nature, if at all possible. And if it's not possible, then do things that give you a sense of order and healthy ritual. So yoga routines, whatever routine is allowing you a sense of putting things in place, baking bread, putting your books in order for tax season, whatever. It's all absolutely, it can run like a clock as long as you just allow that to unfold. Once the moon is in the sign of Libra at 4:47 p.m., then things change a bit. You may feel more conversational. You may be getting into all kinds of conversations with people that go this way and that way, and roundabout and in circles, and you agree to disagree, or you disagree to agree, whatever. It can be just a really fun kind of evening for being with people, community, having conversations, or just chill and enjoy something cultural that stimulates you and relaxes you and helps you appreciate the beauty of what human beings can create. So nature in the day, human creations, and cultural exchange in the evening. Then on the 4th, February, moon is again in the sign of Libra. And this is a day that can feel very harmonious. It can feel as though you're having lots of really good conversations, a lot of things are getting done, a lot of connections that can happen, and it can be a strategic planning day. Really good for that. Just bear in mind that whatever is planned or crafted may get a detour that happens with it. May not be something you realize on that day, but is something that happens as a result of whatever it is you might put in action on the 4th. This is not necessarily a bad thing at all. The thing that's important is to not be so attached to the way that it pans out that you don't allow the actual manifestation of whatever the concept was. So what you want to be clear of on Sunday is, what is the strategy? What would you like to have unfold? And then let go of any attachment as to how that happens. Overall, a good message in life in general, but especially meaningful on February 4th. Wishing you a wonderful week. If you want to hear more about our program, you can find us at StokeTheFire.guru. That's where you find out how to subscribe to get just the encapsulated essence of the astrology forecast and then the energetic activation delivered to your mailbox Sunday evening. Or you can find out about Susie at susiemazzoli-healer.com, me at insightoasis.com. And if you do go to StokeTheFire.guru and decide to subscribe, you can try us for 6 weeks at half price to see if it's a fit for you. Or you can sign up for a whole year. And if you sign up for a whole year, you get, in addition, a free consultation with either Susie or myself. That's an hour consultation that is a terrific value. It's just basically giving you the free consultation along with the year's subscription, which is a tremendous value. So we hope to see you either watching us just on the video here at YouTube. Share us with your friends if you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next week. Many blessings.